Hi, so Charlie giving you Friday's live trading video. Hope you're very well. By all means, do remember to always give us a thumbs up and remember to subscribe to the videos because it means you always get notified when a new video goes up from Easy Trader. Now, I'm looking at a daily chart of the euro dollar at the moment. Now, bear in mind, I've always realised that my charts are cut off. Is because I'm actually doing these sessions with. I'm actually always in a Friday session with our swing traders all day on the Fridays I record. So you got to bear in mind, it's only a small recording area for doing the YouTube videos. So my charts are normally that much further off, and that's why you don't always see everything because I'm not remembering to adjust the charts all of the time. Anyway, for now, while I'm doing this intro, let's pull those down. So I think actually what's of interest to me right now is the S&P. Not necessarily from a trading perspective, but just from what's gone on. 2 days ago on Wednesday we had a bout of volatility, and we saw a really big sell-off come in. Then yesterday we had a mighty bounce, started giving it back near the close as you can see there, but we had that mighty bounce. I suspect we're going to sell off here. I know we already are down, and I'm recording this at 20 past 7 in the morning, but I suspect the S&P is going to hold down because what I've spotted, what I think is going to happen, is that we're going to end up with a key reversal week. This is the weekly chart, and in order to do that, we've made a new high for the week, but I think we're going to need to close below last week's low. So the S&P should dictate to an extent what some of those currencies do as well. So if we see the S&P selling off, then we'll see that with the currencies as well. So now don't get me wrong, it's early doors at the moment, and the S&P may want to bounce around during the day, but that's what I'm going to be looking for from the S&P. So if I now take us back to the euro. Now I know I'm already short euro, and you know that I'm already short euro because I've shown it before. But I'll still trade this on an individual basis here today, and so I'll look at the other currencies as well. But just literally just looking at this at the moment. So we did a test yesterday, in that we'd made those lows on Wednesday. This is an hourly chart now. Then we did a retest, tried to test, and but it held. Obviously, didn't get down to those lows, and this is where we're at right now. So I'm looking for the euro to come down. I just need to find an entry. So that's what I'm going to be looking for here this morning. So if you now see me all of a sudden when I next come on saying, right, I'm short in the euro, then you know a little bit more about what I'm up to. Because again, I'm really busy with our traders. I'm about to start with them in about 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so. And then I literally press pause, then unpress pause and stuff like that in between these videos, in between me just constantly talking with them. So that's the overall idea. So I'm still bullish on the dollar actually at the moment overall. Now, one caveat is that if I go out to the weekly chart here, this is the euro dollar on the weekly. It got up to a key resistance up here. If I take you out to the monthlies, so it got out to this resistance zone, which measures up all the way up to these prior lows. I'm sure many of you have got that on your charts, and so that's one of the reasons why I've been shorting this euro dollar. So I won't go into everything technically, but that's one of the reasons. So I still see the potential for more downside, but of course, if I come to the weekly chart, this could still bounce around. It doesn't have to come down right now, but that's what I'm looking for. But it could still bounce around. So and still then work its way down. Just like over here, bounced around for a while before it finally made its final low there. So back to the hourly chart, and then I'll then look at the smaller time frames as well. That's what I'm up to. I'm just waiting for probably a bit more weakness to come in at the moment, because bearing in mind, at the moment, it's made this high, which is above these highs, which is above this low. So it's sort of making higher lows, only on this little hourly chart, so it's not too important, but I just want to see a little bit more weakness coming in. So I'll press pause for now. Okay, just back, and I've talked about this euro dollar here this morning, and so yes, this is still the hourly chart, and I'm just going to be looking for a breakdown really this morning. And if we do break down, I've bought some deal tickets up. I've estimated that it'll be about a 20 pip stop if I breach those lows down there, and so if I got in somewhere in the low 90s, then I'll be putting a stop up here, at around about 121.10. So around about 20 pips. Maybe it's not quite that. So it works out at 2.7 lots. So 270,000 is 2.7 lots. So if it does work out, that's what I'll be doing. So I'll press pause for now. Yeah. Okay, just back, and we were getting so close to looking for that short, but the euro turned around and has gone up. So still playing a waiting game here. I'm sat here with the swing traders today, and so just waiting for some weakness to come in. If the euro just wants to go up, I may just sit that one out, because that's not really where my overall analysis is. So I'd rather trade in the direction of my overall analysis, going back out to that daily chart, really where I'm looking for this to still come lower. I'm just sitting here patiently waiting to see if this is just a bit of noise here this morning, and then we roll back over. So we'll see. Okay, just back, and it's now well into the afternoon. I've not really done much more commentary because the euro's just been holding up. As I said, I wouldn't be buying it. If it did come up today, I'll just leave that alone. So that's what I'm doing. I'm still waiting to see if it does reverse, and if it does, then we'll get a trade off at some point. But it's probably a big ask now. It's 1:30, so but anyway, we'll see how we go this afternoon, and you never know. Okay, just back, and it is now 6:15 in the evening. What a day for day trading. Don't get me wrong, there's always trades available, but it comes down, as I always say, down to your particular style and whether there's a trade available to you. So I've been, as you know, right from this morning, I was looking for the euro to break down. It didn't. I stood away from the upside. The euro's given it back. What's a big one? Remember that S&P? Hopefully I talked about that first thing this morning, because I've forgotten now. This is the hourly chart of the S&P. If we go to that daily chart, that is breaking down. That to me is the key to this dollar themed trade. So back to the euro dollar. The euro dollar is pretty much nothing. Like I said this morning, it's in this whole range, so it's not really meaning much today. But, however, I'm going to put a trade on here this evening and just see how it goes into the weekend. So this trade I'm literally putting this on to see, just in case we go and get a gap down at the weekend, just in case we go and get a bit of a move, because of the way the S&P is selling off there going into a Friday night. So there's been a lot of volatility in the markets today. If I look at gold, then look at that. I mean, that was having a wonderful up move at some point, which was surprising me because I've been fairly bearish on gold. But in many regards, I'm quite pleased to see it come down because that suits my overall analysis. So anyway, stop talking, Charlie. Let's get on with this. So if I'm going to put it's going to be a 30 pip stop. I'm just calculating my risk. That doesn't look right. That can't be right. Yes, it will be. Hold on. I'm just working it off screen. Yeah, it is. So if I can hurry up, I'm just quickly trying to work it out, because the euro currently is one thing I keep forgetting to do is to drag these charts up for when I'm hitting the record. There we go, squeeze it back in for you. So yeah, I'm looking to, I'm not being fussy, I'm just going to get in here and put a stop above the high. Now, it's suggesting a position size of 0.9, okay? 0.9, because I'm doing this as a half size position. So I'm going to put this one in, let's bring it across. And I'm just going to be holding this into next week. Okay, so I'm going to take in this. There's still traders with me even now. I've just had my dinner, but just come back on the mic here. So I'm going to short this 90,000. That's 0.9 of a lot. For those of you who deal with lots, let's get this done. So, right. So I've shorted. That's at 28. And now I need to get the stop loss in. So let's drag that across. And so the stop loss, not what they recommend, let's put it in at 58 then. 121.58, 1.2158, which is above this high, which is perfect anyway. So let's get that in. So the stop loss is in just above this high, and I've shorted it here. Unfortunately, I'm gonna keep the video running for now. I'll come back later this evening and call this a wrap, and this video will get out to you tomorrow, Saturday. And we'll just see how this closes tonight. So I'll do it later. There we go. Unfortunately, it's not a day trade. It happens sometimes this way. I've just, right from the off, I was waiting for this euro to sell off. It's giving back those gains at the moment, but it's really about some of those other markets. This is the 4-hour chart of the euro. As I've said, the daily chart, I'm overall bearish, but really it's flat for the day, as you can see. But it's that S&P and gold, and that's, to me, giving the game away as to why I wanted to put this short on the euro. I'm going to press pause. I'll come back to this at maybe 9 o'clock tonight, 10 o'clock tonight, whenever I get back in, because I've got Zoom calls to do and stuff tonight. So I will leave you to it, and we'll see where this is at tonight. If it bounces by later tonight, so be it. That's why I've put a half-size position on. So, but I think it's worthwhile just to see, because if it does run, oh, by the way, what are the targets going to be? The targets are going to be right down, at least down here. So we've got 120.60. So I've got about a 30 pip stop, getting in at 28. So that would be down to around about the 60 zone, between 60 and 70. Let's call it 70 right now. So that would be 58 pips. So yeah, nearly a 2-to-1. But that won't happen until next week. Take care for now. Actually, I don't know, I'm almost wrapping it up there. I'm not. So we'll come back to this later tonight. Okay, just finishing this video off. I've just come back to this. It's now 10 past 10 Friday night. As you can see, it's not really done anything. I wasn't expecting anything. It was more just a case of putting this trade on, and just on a half-size position, and seeing if it can come down maybe next week. So that's what we're really looking at there, and just taking into consideration what was going on elsewhere, and that if the stock markets were to follow through next week, we should see dollar strength. That's what we should be looking for. Let's go and have a look at the stock markets. The S&P, as you can see, has closed down near its lows. That's on the hourly chart. If we take that out to the daily, pretty negative there. And on the weekly, we've got that key reversal week where we made a new high and we've closed well below the previous week's lows. Now, it's not to say that the S&P couldn't bounce next week, but that is a pretty bearish sign, pretty bearish signal. We've got divergences and all sorts on the S&P, the Nasdaq. So going back to the daily charts, of course, in the early part of next week, we could always bounce around, but I'd be seeing that as a generally bearish sign for the S&P. So I'd like to think that the dollar will start to gain some traction next week. As we can see, this is the daily chart of the euro dollar. It's basically held its ground quite nicely here today, but it happens, and so we'll see if that can roll over next week on that position. So back to the position. So it's just held. Remember, I got in at about 28. It closed at 36, so it's nothing. My stop's up here. We'll just see how this finishes out next week. So a bit of a boring day today, but that's the way the markets are. A lot of the time, you make your money sitting on your hands. We'll see how that works out next week.